everybody. Welcome to another episode. It's been a bit of a wild one this week, hasn't it? Every day I looked out the window, horizontal rain, cats, dogs, cows and sheep, trees, everything flying past the window. I've been waiting all week to come out and try and film an episode. And I know it's a typical thing to do for a British person to mow. You know, all the way in Australia they call us whinging poms, but if you had to spend a week here from another country, you would know just how miserable it can be in the winter months. But today I've woke up and we've got some great light coming through and hitting the valley. So it's not actually the morning, it's the late morning. I've been waiting for the sun to start to peek through the clouds, which is starting to do now. So I'm heading over to the pine forest. I ain't got time to quickly put you onto my other tripod, but I've just set my camera up. I don't know if you can see here, but there's some spectacular light just coming through at the moment and hitting these two trees here. I'm trying to set up a composition. I don't know if you can actually see what I'm trying to do here. Because I was rushing, I forgot to put the lens hood on the end of the lens, which is why you've got that sun flare coming in on the top right hand corner. If that wasn't there, this would have been a really nice image. I'm just waiting now to see whether or not I can get another picture. So I've moved the composition because I was a bit further back. I was walking up here, I had to drop all my stuff, but these bushes were in the way. It's not the greatest composition, it's not the greatest picture, but it still looks pretty nice. And now the sun is coming through. I've focused on the trees. 2-second timer. Well, it's typical. It seems the light has now disappeared. It's always the case, isn't it? You get all your camera gear out, you get to the composition, and then boom, the light disappears. Now I could wait a little bit longer, but I could be waiting here all day. So I'm going to give it 5 more minutes, and then if the light doesn't change, I'll move on and carry on up to the pine forest for the rest of the expedition. I was happier with this composition because you weren't being distracted by the little bush in the bottom right hand corner, but the light just wasn't as good as the previous image. Now with the light breaking through the clouds and illuminating those two trees, I felt encouraged that I would get some good light up at the pine forest. So I packed all my camera gear up and I set off feeling very optimistic that I'd find a subject in one of my favourite places, woodland hills. So I've opted to come back to a place that I hold quite dear to me. When I was a child, I spent a lot of my youth playing in these woods. Now I used to live just down on Carl Road, and growing up with these woods behind you inspired and sparked my imagination like you wouldn't believe. I was so fortunate to have this as my backyard, and I spent countless days finding tunnels, exploring and getting up to all kinds of mischief. So it's a really special place for me. And at the beginning of the year I came back here and I started to take those pictures when I first got back to England, so it kind of helped me get back into my photography. So the way I went about taking pictures then compared to now has changed quite a lot actually, because I kind of run and gun back in the day and just took pictures of anything, and then I'd take them back into Photoshop and Lightroom and I'd kind of add my style to it, because I really like the mystical style of photography. And these woods, they offer that because they're pretty creepy, and they're some pretty funky little areas inside the woods actually. There's some little tunnels that I found when I was a kid, and I've managed to find them again, but they've changed quite a lot. But the way I go about photography now is very different. I'd say in the last 6 months I've definitely changed, just because I apply myself differently. the way I look for compositions is different. But what I want to do today is actually take my time and see if I can find a subject to photograph. I love woodland photography, and I'm trying to find something that's a little bit more unique and special. So hopefully I will find something, and yeah. This scene behind me is something I would typically photograph normally. It's like at the beginning of the year, I would have photographed how the light is hitting those trees, and it's just creating a little bit of mist, but I'm looking for something a little bit more unique than that. I'm looking for something that is layered, and it's just something that's calling out, that's something that's a little bit different. So I'm trying to approach this in a much different way, but that's a prime example of just something that I would usually like to photograph. And it looks spectacular with the light hitting, and you can just see the moss hanging on the trees and it's dripping with water. So it's got layers and it's got texture, but I want to find something a little bit more unique. So last time I was here, I actually got pretty freaked out. Now, there's these pretty funky tunnels, and I was walking down them, and I set up this composition that, you know, it was nothing special, but as I was down in the tunnel, I started to hear this little freaky noise, and I wasn't sure what it were. Now, it wasn't any cows, it wasn't any sheep, and it definitely wasn't a cyclist, but it's the first time as an adult that I've genuinely been scared, and I was well freaked out. But I am going to head back there shortly, so maybe the mystery noise will return. But for now, I'm still going to look for a little subject, but I will show you these tunnels, and hopefully I won't end up being murdered. Ooh. Now I can honestly say I have walked through these woods so many times, but I've never ever spotted these stones. I don't know how I've never seen them, but they're a little bit creepy. But just behind me, up above there, because it's been raining, there's kind of like a light mist inside these woods, so I can't help it. I'm getting excited, and I'm like trying not to just go running and gunning, but the light up there looks really cool. So I'm kind of racing against the clock at the minute, because the sun, even though it's only, what time is it? It's 22. It's 22 in the afternoon, but the sun is already starting to dip. So I'm trying to find something that's illuminated with the sun, but at the moment, you know, the sun is just disappearing. England in winter. But just up there, you know, it looks nice. It looks really intricate, and it looks quite mystical, and I'm already getting excited. Now I thought I'd found something, and I can't quite get the composition right, so I'll show you what I'm looking at. You can see on the back of here, but basically there's this branch, and it's got all these little droplets on it. There's just this one here. I mean, with the fog keeps coming and going, like intermittently, so I'm trying to photograph this branch here with all the droplets of water onto it, but I'm not quite sure if this composition's working. My tripod is precariously balanced. Now I've opted to go with my 24 to 70 2.8 Z lens because it's just super tack sharp, but we'll see how the image turns out. Now I was pleasantly surprised how much I liked this image. It was exactly the kind of thing I was after, something that had texture, something that had layers, and something that had a little bit of mystery. Well, try as I might, I can't seem to find this elusive subject, so I've come back out into the opening because I can't seem to find anything that's illuminated with the light. So as you can see behind me, the light is coming through, so I'm going to opt to go on the outside of the woodlands to see if I can see something that's been illuminated from the outside and see if I can find a subject, because You'd think you'd be able to photograph so much here, like there is mist in there, there is this atmosphere, but because all the trees are uniform going down, it makes it quite difficult. Because I had an idea in my head, maybe I'll try and get like just a panel of the trees all lined up with the mist behind them to separate them, to give them layers, but there's no straight area because this is like a giant hill. Well, it is a giant hill. The trees obviously are not uniformed in a line straight. They're uniformed in a line going like that because I think it is some kind of plantation, or it used to be. But they obviously go down like this, so I can't get a straight shot. So I'm struggling a little bit, and this is what I mean, like when you're trying to approach it with a different mindset, you're trying to find something unique, you're trying to find a subject with layers, with texture, and at the moment I'm struggling a little bit. So, but I'm still trying to remain optimistic. I may find something. Well, as soon as I got outside into the opening, the sun went behind the cloud. So here I am back in the woods, traipsing around on the top edge, hoping that the light might come through and illuminate something. Now ideally what I'm looking for is something like a young sapling breaking through amongst all the rest, so that I can photograph it, and it's almost kind of like you get a sense of, you know, youth amongst age and stuff like that. But there doesn't seem to be any kind of youth in here. It just seems to be old woods with lots of plastic everywhere, which is really disappointing to see. I'm quite frustrated actually about just the amount of plastic that's lying around. People clearly don't respect this place and don't look after it, so it's very frustrating to see. It's quite staggering to see the level of destruction that the storm has brought to these woods in the last few days. Like, I've been walking around and just everywhere you look, they're just absolutely just destroyed. So goes to show, don't mess with Mother Nature, man. She's powerful. But I'm trying to see if I can find a composition with this actually. It's because all the trees are just crisscrossed like this, so maybe I'll be able to find something, but it's trying to line it up, but I am struggling a little bit. But yeah, I mean, wow, it's impressive just how much. It's kind of sad as well, obviously, because these trees are really old and they've been here a long time. So to see it like this, you know, it's impressive, yet it's sad at the same time. So it does feel a little bit like it's not meant to be today. I am just walking around aimlessly looking. You come over to this side of the woods and you get the mist, but then there's no light. And then you go over to where the light is and there's no mist. So it's nearly fell. It's just the way it is sometimes with photography. You have to look, you have to search, you have to be out in nature, which is, you know, it's a great thing. You know, I'm not complaining that I'm being outside, but it can be frustrating at times because you're looking for something specific, and you know, you've got to have that eye for it, and you just got to constantly look and search and hope that you might get a bit of light and there might be a subject. But you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm out, I'm still having fun, I'm still enjoying being out in the trees, and oh, there's a saw there on the tree. I thought I'd wrap up the day by showing you the tunnels, which, you know, is a place that I recall from being a kid. And I remember when I found them, they seemed huge and massive. Now I've since found them as an adult, and they're not quite as interesting, but it's still a pretty funky place. So I'm making my way there. I do happen to know roughly where I'm going. Well, I say that, but yeah. But anyway, like I said, the last time I was down here, I was in the tunnel section and there were some creepy ass noises. So, you know, I am alone in these woods as far as I'm aware, so fingers crossed maybe nothing will happen to me. But I don't know if you can see, there's like a giant ravine here, and these are the tunnels, and they make their way all the way down to the bottom. So I'm gonna climb down into them now. Here we are, traipsing down the giant ravine thing, whatever you want to call it. Now, the last time, like I said, I was in here and I set my tripod up I was taking a picture of the fallen trees. It's nothing special. I'll flash the image up in a second. And there were some weird noises. And like I said earlier, it's the first time in a long time that I actually got pretty creeped out. And I felt a little bit vulnerable because obviously I was down in these. And yeah, definitely felt pretty creepy. Now, these are not normally like this, so they've obviously fallen over with the recent storm, which is really sad. So I don't know if I can make my way through. Ah, yes you can. There you go. No, I can't. My bag's got. Get off. Ah. Oh, what is that going down my neck? I recall them being bigger, and I'm pretty sure there are some more somewhere that are like this. But yeah, as a kid, it was a pretty fantastic place to hang out. And well, just as I came out of the tunnel section, I heard another noise, and I absolutely crapped my pants. I was like, but I think it was just an owl or a bird flapping, so I'm still alive, which is the main thing. But I'm gonna wrap it up now. It hasn't quite worked out today. You know, I've come here with the intention of trying to find something, a unique subject, but like I said in my earlier video, it doesn't always work out like that. But it's the perseverance, you gotta get out and you gotta try. So, I don't feel like I got any meaningful images today, but they're not too bad. So, but if you do enjoy the content that I'm putting out, you know, please hit the thumbs up, it helps the channel grow. And if you do want to see more of this crazy ramblings from me, you know, hit the subscribe button. And hopefully I'll try and put out an episode every week. Every Sunday is going to be the day I'm going to try and put a new video out. So, but I think I've realized I need to go further afield. You know, as much as I love these woodlands, I think I've been up here too much, and I've kind of, it's just, I'm not looking at it with fresh eyes anymore. You know, I come up here and I go to the same locations, and it's becoming a little bit stale for me. So hopefully when I get my car on the road, and there's good news with that, Nissan Australia have been in touch with me and told me that they should be sending me over something soon. So hopefully I'll be able to finally get my car on the road. But yeah, I will start going further afield and looking for, you know, better places for photographic opportunities and adventure. So, but you know what? It's all about the adventure. It's all about getting outside and doing something that you enjoy. So I'm an advocate for playing outside. I'm an advocate for being in nature and in the woodlands. It's good for your heart and it's good for your soul. So, but I hope you enjoyed the content, and yeah, stay tuned and hopefully it will get a little bit more interesting. And I should be hopefully going up to Scotland in the next month to do some winter climbing. So stay tuned for that one. That should be an interesting episode. Adios, amigos.